And joining us now is Amber Athey, Washington editor at the Spectator. Amber, great to see you. Thanks so much for coming on. We have a lot to get to, but first, I want to talk about the latest poll from ABC News and the Washington Post, which has President Biden's approval rating at just 38%. Meanwhile, a recent CNN report alludes to tension within the White House and frustration on behalf of the vice president and her staff. What do you make of all of this?
Well, it just shows that the American people are paying attention. They know that the inflation that they're facing at the grocery store, the supply chain shortages, and all of these other domestic issues that they're facing are the result of the policies put in place by the Biden administration, and particularly the Biden administration's slow walking of the reopening of the economy, which has really created so many bottlenecks for consumers and made it harder for families to afford goods and make sure that they're able to put food on the kitchen table. So these polls are a basic reflection of that. And the American people know that the policies that the Biden administration is implementing are not helping them in the short or the long term.
I want to go on now to Capitol Hill. Senator Patrick Leahy, a Democrat from Vermont, announced today that he will not be running for re-election in 2022. The 81-year-old is the longest-serving senator still in office. I want to talk about the significance of his departure, as well as others who have recently announced that they're also stepping down.
Yes, I think Senator Leahy, his decision not to run for office again is going to be a huge blow to the Democratic Party and really a lot of the norms that we are used to in Congress. He was someone who worked in a bipartisan way with the Republican Party and really sought to cut across party lines in terms of the relationships that he would build with colleagues. And unfortunately, our politics has gotten so divisive over the past decade or so that type of leadership in Congress has really disappeared. So he will be a huge loss, I think.
Something else I'm going to talk about, sort of on a different note. Last weekend, the FBI raided the home of Project Veritas founder James O'Keefe as part of an investigation into the alleged theft of first daughter Ashley Biden's diary. And over this weekend, the ACLU released a statement saying, in part, quote, the precedent set in this case could have serious consequences for press freedom. As a journalist, I want to get your thoughts on that.
It's beyond disturbing that this would happen. Usually journalists are allowed to protect their sources. They are not cracked down on by federal law enforcement agencies for reporting on things that are given to them. And in this case, the FBI has decided to chill the right of journalists to report on newsworthy items. And it's really disappointing to see. And I hope, and I'm glad to see the ACLU, which has taken sort of a leftward turn over the past few years, standing by Project Veritas' side. And I hope that that legal fight goes well for them for merely the precedent that it sets for all journalists out there.
Not a whole lot of time left, Amber, but I really want to get to this last question. Apparently, schools in Worcester, Massachusetts are teaching about gender identity and sex education for children as young as 5 years old in kindergarten. According to the Washington Free Beacon, it's part of the federally funded 3 R's curriculum, which stands for rights, respect, and responsibility. Wondering what more you know about this and also how parents there are responding.
Yes, a significant number of parents are making sure that their children are not exposed to this curriculum. It's somewhere between 13 and 15% of parents have decided to opt their children out because of the fact that this curriculum is filled with so much objectionable content for children of such a young age, not only talking about genitalia to children in kindergarten age, but also middle schoolers learning about things like pansexuality and transgenderism. So it's a really obvious political agenda that's being pushed on children who are young and impressionable. And I applaud parents who are taking a stand and trying to protect their children. This will be the next big fight on education, like we saw in Virginia on critical race theory. This will be the new frontier.
Amber, probably about 30 seconds left. Quickly, what are you keeping your eye on?
Yes, well, I'm very interested to see what happens next with the Build Back Better agenda, considering the infrastructure plan passed that will supposedly pave the way for progressives to be voting for the Build Back Better plan, which is a true $2 trillion progressive wish list, and Republicans, 13 Republicans voting for the infrastructure package helped to bail Democrats out of their own impasse negotiations. So that will be the next big fight coming out of Congress.
All right, we will leave it right there. Thank you so much, Amber. Always great to get your analysis.
Thank you.